World of Tanks Frontline Strategy. This video is going to cover some strategy you can use to play World of Tanks. First, I'm just going to do some general overviews, and then I'm going to show some maps and talk about tactics and strategies you can play on the maps. First of all, play fast tanks. It makes a big difference. You don't see a lot of slow tanks in the game, especially heavy tanks. You'll see the fast heavy tanks, but you won't see the slow heavy tanks. Don't use gold rounds. Obviously, there's people that do, but you don't need to. I mean, if you have proper positioning, you don't need to use gold rounds. There's people that only fire gold rounds. I understand they have the ability to do that, but I've got videos where I don't fire any gold rounds and I get more damage than everybody. Positioning and skill earns you a lot more money. Try to hit the enemy on the side or rear by repositioning. Make sure your team covers all flanks. This is one of the most important strategies and tips in the game, because if you don't cover all flanks, which are usually the east and the west, you're probably going to lose. And on Epic Normandy, it's true definitely for Cap A and for Cap C. There's many games where I have to go all alone. They won't, like, your allies won't cap if you don't control the flank, and nobody will go control the flank if nobody's capping. So, and I can't do everything, but there's lots of videos where I talk about this. If everyone rushes the A, B, and C caps at the start of the game, you have lots of game time and you will likely win. This is a game replay where it happened. The enemy team in the first 2 minutes capped A, B, and C, and they had like 17 minutes to do the final objective. So they slaughtered us. Stay in your zone when the game starts. If you move to another zone, it creates an imbalance. And what happens is the defenders often move to another zone, and sometimes they go with their friends because they want to snipe up on a ridge or something. And then what happens is they're too short in one zone and too extra in another zone, and they're needed, and if you beg them to come back, they won't, and then you end up losing Cap B on Epic Normandy. It happens all the time. Avoid going into another zone unless you have an immediate need. When you go into other zones, if you know what you're doing, that's one thing. But if you're doing it just because you want to park in your favorite position, what happens is, again, you have the imbalance. And people don't like to play in D, and they don't like to play in E, and they go back and forth because it's easy to. And they leave caps undefended, and they don't care. Learn to play the hard caps. Cap C on Epic Normandy is very hard. For me, I don't care. For me, it's easy. Because it's hard, people won't play it. But if you want to be a good player, you should play. I understand, I play every day. I play all day long. I don't have a job. You guys are out there working 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So you don't play as much as I do. So I learn to play them more. But if you learn to play the hard caps, you'll become a better player. So here we have some videos. This is me defending against 4 enemy tanks, and I kill them all. Or one of them probably runs away. Okay. We'll get into the map strategy soon. So this section, which is at cheapbooks.cc, is going to be talking specifically about assaulting. And I might add more by the time you watch this video. It was written January 24th. After winning a cap, go north. If you go east or west, you'll usually reduce the chance you win. So what people do when they assault is they won't go north because they want to go into another cap zone. And it can work. It can definitely work. But what happens is the people who don't know what they're doing follow everybody else, and then the whole team will go the wrong direction. And then you got 25 people in one zone against 5 people, and they take too long to cap, and it takes time to go from one zone to another. to go from A to B takes you 1 or 2 minutes. So if you do that and you're not working on opening the final objectives, then you reduce your chances of winning. You want to open the final objectives as quickly as possible. And the reason why is because your light tanks can go in and start working on the final objectives. They're going to make it a lot easier. They are hard to defend at the start of the game. The enemy won't be able to defend if you open them up as quickly as possible because they're working on protecting the caps, and the light tanks can go all over the objectives, the whole entire rear, looking for SPGs, damaging objectives, etc. On most maps, fast tanks go to objective 1 or 5, slow tanks head for 2, 3, and 4. If you're slow, the final objectives would be destroyed at 1 and 5 before the time you get there, or you just won't make a difference anyway, which I'll be showing you later. So basically, I see so many games where the fast tanks, they go to objective 1 on Epic Normandy, and by the time the heavy tanks get there, the fast light tanks are already at objective 2, so they're not participating. You want to head towards the right objective. If you capo by yourself, you will level up easily. That's the way I got general. So here's going to be some defending tips. Losing the game does not increase the chance you get general, nor do you get more experience. I proved this. I made some videos proving it where I went through all my replays and I proved that like 95% of the time I got general, we won the game. It was rare that I got general from losing the game. Winning gets you more experience. I also proved this. I have a link somewhere. It's going to be here. You do not get more experience for losing. In my forum, look at these links and they explain it. I have charts, analysis, spreadsheets, etc. All you have to do is look at the list at the end of the game and you'll see that only 10% of the players get general. Not everybody gets general, and you got people trying to get general who don't make it, and they're losing the game, and they ruin it for everybody. And you lose the credits and the experience. Use super heavy tank destroyers to defend the final objective. So if you're on that top row in the north, get your TS5 and your T28 and your AT-15 with the strong armor and the Yag-D Tiger to defend the final objectives, and just sit there and let the enemy come to you. Use fast TDs to defend D, E, and F. The reason why is because they can retreat quickly. So in the middle row, my food is done and I'm nowhere near finishing this video. On these caps, use the light tank destroyers so that they can retreat quickly. Use SPG to reset cap. You get lots of experience, easy to get general. You get general at the beginning of the game, halfway through the game if you use SPG. So over here, people go to D, and when they cap it, they cross over here and go to E, and it's the wrong strategy. The reason why is because it takes too long to drive from here to here. So if it takes you 2 minutes to come over here and to cap E, you only get a 2-minute extension, so your net gain is 0. So don't do it. What you should be doing is going after the objectives. If you've got 10 tanks over here and they all go to the final objectives, the tanks at E have to withdraw and go to the final objectives. You only need 1 tank to cap E, and it's better to have a small team do it than have the whole entire team trying to do it, because the net gain won't be there. Okay, this is an overpowered position that I play. The red line shows you the 2 positions you play. And it works if you're defending or assaulting. So what happens is, if they're capping E, you drive down here and you help your team on E. And if they're capping F, you drive over here and you help your team on F. So over here you can reset the cap and you can help your team cap because you can shoot at the enemy tanks that are trying to reset cap. And you can rush out to the cap if you want. If you go to the position near the bridge that crosses the river, after the enemy caps E, you can hit them when they go to the resupply facility. And you can fire through the buildings and hit them as they cross the bridge. The other thing you could do for cap F, you can attack the defending team and the assaulting team. You hit the assaulting team as they come along the rail, and you hit the defending team as they climb up the hill at F. It's a very important position. I have a lot of fun over here. But bear in mind, if you kill someone and they know that you're here at the bridge and they're on the defending team, they will respawn as a light tank and they will come looking for you. It happens always. A lot of people know this position because they've been watching me play, obviously. However, what they don't know is that they should reposition to E when E needs help. And there's times when nothing's happening at F and we need help at E, and I'm telling my allies, come to E, and they don't do it. Okay, so this is, if you have a high penetration gun such as the STRV or the UDIS, you can penetrate the final objectives from the positions on the map. Number one, you can penetrate from the east. You just have to go past the building in the middle. Number two, you go behind the rail along the river and you hit number two. Number three, you can hit it from north of Cap E where there's a resupply area. I don't know if you can damage it, I'm not sure, but you used to be able to. Maybe now you can't anymore. Number four, you can hit on your way north. There's a little gap, and once you get past the little train station, there's a small hill where you can hit 4, and there's a small hill where you can hit 5. And then on the west side, you go up to the big hill on the west side, and you park against the red line, and there's a little house, and you can hit number 5, and you can shoot between the house and the hill. I've done it many times. I only do this if we need it at the last minute, because it's really unfair to be able to come over here and you can destroy 5. I've done it all by myself, easy. So you want to configure a vehicle for assaulting the final objectives. These are the final objectives, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you assault it, you're going to want high penetration tanks, autoloaders, gold rounds, etc. So what I do is I make a vehicle, usually an autoloader, with HE rounds, regular rounds, high penetration rounds, high speed, with the gun laying drive and the spall liner for defense. And then what I do is I configure the ammo and the consumables and everything so that I can get quickly to one of these positions and hit it from behind and unload as quickly as possible. And I do it using the Scorpion G. I do it using EBR 75 or another, like a Bat Chat 12T. Progetto is another good one. If you have high penetration, you can do it with the STRV. If you don't, you got to get behind the turret, which means you probably should have an autoloader so you can fire really quickly and then run away. You want to use a spall liner, improved hardening, to reduce incoming damage and increase your hit points, because they will fire at you. If everyone rushes cap ABC, you'll likely win the game because you'll have so much time with the final objectives. If it gets to the point where 5 or 6 minutes are left in the game and you did not open the final objectives, expect to lose. I've discovered you need 5 or 6 minutes to win the game against the final objectives. If your team hasn't capped everything, that's it. Do not assault slowly. The clock is working against you. The defending team can be slow, but the assaulting team has to go really fast. If you try to cap by yourself and your allies don't support you, you can easily lose. I've capped by myself many times, but that was years ago when nobody knew how to play. Now everybody knows how to play, so it's more difficult to cap by yourself. I have capped D, E, and F in the same battle I may have done it all by myself or maybe with one other tank. I did D and then E and then F, and there's a video. If you look through here, you look in the capping section or the capping thread. Over here, this is the video where I did D, E, and F. And this is the one where they did A, B, and C in the first 2 minutes. Scouting. What you want to do, you see these red lines? What you do is you drive back and forth between on the path of the red line. And the reason why is because there's lots of buildings. And the enemy tanks are going to be coming up. This is, of course, on the defending team. They won't be able to shoot at you because of the buildings, and you're going to spot them through the gaps in the building. And there's also a hill over here. You could do it over here. You could do it over here. You could do it over here. You could run a path that goes through everything, turn around, and come back. When you cap, you have to leave the zone. And everyone goes to the resupply zones. So what you want to do is set up a sniping position so you can hit the resupply zones. So what I do is on these maps, you know, there's a resupply zone where I'm pointing with the mouse. You get up on the hill and you just aim your gun at that area, and when the enemy shows up, you start shooting at them. And you do the same thing with SPG. And it works on every map. However, I have not yet shown the positions for the resupply for how you snipe them. Also drop artillery strikes or put landmines if you got them. Just checking to see if there's a pause button, and there is not. When looking or hunting for SPG, only shoot the SPG because enemy tanks will respawn near the SPG, and it's not fair to hit tanks when they spawn in. And if you do, wargaming will change the game to take your freedom away. So just go for SPG. These are some of the combat reserves. Spelled this wrong. They're confusing to use, but you know, I wanted to use recon and artillery strikes, and you could get damage with artillery strikes, but it's not a magical thing where you always get tons of damage. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. The recon often doesn't work because you use it to find an enemy that's running away, and he's running away, so it doesn't matter. And often two people do recon at the same time. Inspire, I always get benefit from Inspire. You're around a lot of tanks and there's heavy action, hit the Inspire, you'll get the benefit, stay in the game. Sentinel, I think, is camo or spotting. Smoke screens takes a lot of practice. I have gotten some benefit from smoke screen, but you'd be surprised how often it just doesn't work. The minefield, you just drop it in a corridor where all the enemies going to drive through. Engineering works, and it's passive. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to turn it on or off. But I think it primarily works when you're capping. And then field repairs, it's kind of unnecessary because you've got the resupply positions. When someone is capping, drop a smoke screen on them to help them out. And also, the combat reserves are confusing because they're assigned to different keys on different tanks, and it's a pain in the butt. So you see the yellow circles? Those are where you get the most damage. Use HE rounds. So you want a fast light tank autoloader with HE rounds that can go in, or the highest DPM vehicle that can go in and damage those with HE, so you do more damage. You'll do about 25% more damage per shot, and then while you're reloading, run and hide, assuming you're using an autoloader. And obviously you're going to go for the low HP turrets or the ones that are lightly defended, and you want your light tank in your garage prepared to do that. When defending, what you want to do is you fall back a small amount, keep firing while retreating, and then fall back again, and then fire, and then fall back again and fire. If they have slow tanks while they're advancing, like heavy tanks, you don't have to worry. But if they have fast tanks, you got to retreat a lot faster because they will overrun you. I've been overrun often by light tanks while your allies are hiding in the back, not helping you. So you pick a fallback position, take a shot, and then fall back, take another shot, etc. If your allies are too far away to help, just assume you have to retreat. So have a plan for how you're going to get out of there. The enemy will keep moving forward, so don't worry, they're going to come. You're just getting shots at them to slow them down and to get extra damage. Keep your eye on the mini-map to see when the enemy leaves the zone and use a tab key to see if they left the zone. Because if it's 10 versus 10 and then a minute later it's 10 versus 5, then you've got too many people in your zone, so you should leave the zone and tell your allies to leave the zone because the enemy's going into another zone. Alert your allies if you need help. For example, you say respawn at D if you need more people, or do not spawn at D if you have too many. The best strategy is everybody goes into Cap B. So Cap A drives into Cap B, Cap C drives into Cap B, and you Cap B the whole team. Then you go to Cap E, you'll destroy them. They won't know what's coming. And then you got the final objectives in like 4 or 5 minutes, you'll have the final objectives open. And then the fast tanks will go to objective 1 and 5, the heavy tanks will go to 3 and 4, and the medium tanks will go to 2. This is for Epic Normandy. So that's how you win. The best strategy for defending is you want as many SPGs and high penetration tank destroyers. Reset the cap, because if they can't cap, they can't win. There's games where nobody caps. I've had that happen before. You want to put most of your defenses at objectives 2, 3, and 4, and put less at 1 and 5. And the reason why is obviously because with 1 and 5 alone, they can't win. They need either 2, 3, and 4 in order to win. And you want to be between 1 and 2, between 4 and 5, so that, like, if you're on the east of 5 and you need to go to 4, you got to go a long distance. But if you're between 4 and 5, you can defend 4 or 5. You want SPGs near E or behind 3 and 4 or in the middle so that they have the range to hit the most of the map. So you see here, this is, let's say this is the SPG range. If he's at E, he can hit D, B, F, 3, etc. But if he's parked at D, he won't be able to hit F, won't be able to hit C, might not be able to hit B. So you want your SPGs at E or behind north of the 3 area. And you want to have good radio range. So you hit the most targets when you're in the center of the map when you play SPG. And you want to reposition. You want to fall back as necessary. You want speed, signal boosting, and anything that increases aim time like a gun laying drive, and ammo with high burst radius. And you'll get general easily. So you start at E and you fall back to the bridge, which is over here, the bridge over the water, and then you go back up until the north position where the SPGs park at the end of the game. Okay, this is Cap A. If you have an autoloader, what you do is you drive along the yellow line back and forth when you're defending. So you go to the west and you fire all your rounds from your autoloader, and while you're reloading, you go to the east, you fire at these guys. You might have to climb up the hill or even go into B, and then while you're reloading, you go back to A, hit the resupply on the way, unload at them, and then go back. While you're gone for a long time, they'll forget about you and they'll point their guns somewhere else. And then when you show up here, you're going to ambush them and they're going to pull their vehicles back and they're going to stop shooting at your allies, and then you're going to run away again. It's a perfect strategy. And you can do it with light tank destroyers also. This is what you do with light tanks. You come over here at B with an autoloader and you fire into B, and while you reload, you cross over into C and you fire at these guys over here, and then you leave and you come back to B. They'll start advancing because you've been gone a long time. So when you come back to C, they're all going to be easy targets, etc. And you just keep repeating this over and over during your reloads. And also, obviously, there's a resupply right here, which will make it easy for you. And it works on many maps. For example, it works here where the star is on the bottom. You can cover B and C. You just go one way or the other way. And over here, you see where all the stars are? Those are the overpowered sniping positions. Because if you're at these stars, you can cover E. You can, on the star on the left, you can cover D and E. The star on the right, you can cover E and F. You'll see a lot of tanks parked here waiting for the enemy. And over here with the cloverleaf, you can do B or C, so it's better to play over here as opposed to over here on the east side or over here on the west side. I'm sorry I'm going through it really fast. It's because I have dinner that's already cooked from about 15 minutes ago. Okay, these are positions where you defend. You see where the stars are? If you are at these stars, you can defend 1 and 2. If you're at this star, you could defend 2, 3, and 4. And if you're at this star, you can defend 4 and 5. So that's why you want to park in those positions. You have to move a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. There's people that take up positions too far to the east and too far to the west, and if they need to move across the map, they just won't do it. So heavy tanks are going to park at 3, and the tank destroyers between 1, 2, and 4, and 5. This shows a route. Like if you're a slow tank, you don't want to assault out in the open field or taking the long way around to 1. You want to go through the buildings and head for 2. You'll have lots of cover. They won't be able to hit you. You can stop whatever you want and reload. They only have a small window of opportunity to fire at you. If you go to 1, they can hit you often, and they expect you to come that way. And number 1 is often defended, and number 2, nobody defends 2 unless it's under assault. They're usually out defending 1 or 3, and then they'll rush to 2 if somebody attacks it. When the final objectives open, it usually will be from one specific cap, which means that you've got D, E, and F. One of them will open up and everybody can start pouring in if they're smart. You can enter, for example, on the west and drive all the way across to the east and start attacking this turret. So the smart thing to do is go for 1 with an autoloader and damage it, and while it's reloading, drive to 2 and damage it, and while it's reloading, drive to 3 and damage it, and then maybe head back to 2 and then maybe head back to 1. So the enemy doesn't know exactly what your position is, and while you're reloading, you're repositioning, which means it's going to be hard for them to find you, and you could obviously go to 4 and 5. Also, when you advance, go with a buddy and you'll have a much higher chance of success. Again, you want to use HE on the circular vents and then run away. When you run away, so let's say you go get behind this, you're going to approach, fire regular rounds, load HE, get behind it, hit the circular vents with the HE, run away, use regular rounds to hit it on the side, come over here, use regular rounds to hit it on the side, load HE, get behind it, hit behind with HE, run away, use regular rounds as you run away, come over here with HE, hit it from behind. That's a strategy that's used. I didn't write it down over here. It only takes one tank to destroy an objective. I've done it before. With a heavy tank, you need to hit it about 10 times. With a light tank, at least 20. These are sniping positions that I use with regular tanks. You see number one? You go here, and you're surrounded by buildings. Everyone expects you to be on the west, and there's a bush you can hide in, and you can snipe that turret without being spotted. Number two, I hit the building, gives you a little bit of defense, but there's a lot of people over here. You could come along the river and you can hit 2, and then you could advance over to here and hit 3, or you could climb up the bridge and hit 2 and 3. But you ride along the rails, come over here and shoot at 2. Keep in mind, people know this strategy, so they'll keep an eye on you. Lately, when I've been doing it, they've been finding me. When I first did it, nobody did anything. Number 4, you go to the little slope, you can hit number 4, and you can reposition for number 5. And then number 5, there's a little hill. This is a giant bowl. You climb up the hill, and there's a rock, and you snipe at 5. Everybody knows it now. I was the first one to discover it. It's in my old videos from years ago. Or you go to here with a high penetration vehicle like an STRV, and you snipe at turret 5. So it's all explained in more detail. You can ask questions. Go to cheapbooks.cc. I'm sorry I didn't read everything. And, today is January 25th, 2023. If a lot of time has passed, I might have put more strategy here at the bottom. And I do own cheapbooks.com, which is a website for listing books and textbooks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.